Hi, I am back with another video. This is a Vedic birth chart analysis of a lottery winner. I just love doing these types of videos and I plan on doing more in the future as a series. So let's just jump right in. This person's name is Kenneth Green and he won $13 million on December the 22nd of 1992. So here we have the chart of Kenneth Green, born Friday, January the 3rd of 1958 at 6:16 p.m. in Seekonk, Massachusetts. So let's just start with his day of birth, being he is born on a Friday. And as we know, Friday is ruled by the planet of Venus, which is the planet of luxury. And I mean extreme luxury and wealth. So let's dive into the analysis of his birth chart to see what led him to winning this $13 million. So the first lord goes to where our identity or our path in life is aimed at. So we have the ruler of the first house in the 11th house. He is a Cancer rising. Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is placed in its own sign of exaltation in the 11th house of great gains. So as we know, the 11th house is the house of great gains and large organizations. It indicates money that comes in large amounts. So the moon is the natural significator of the fourth house. So what is the fourth house? The fourth house indicates all types of fixed assets like real estate, homes, land, and vehicles. So the moon is exalted in the 11th house of wealth in the sign of Taurus. And as we know, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus then goes to the 7th house. So looking at his birth chart, we also have Rahu and Ketu across the 410 axis. In this birth chart, the sun rules the 2nd house of wealth, gains, and income, and goes to the 6th house in the sign of Jupiter, where the sun conjuncts Mercury, creating a Buddha Atitya Yoga. And this is also Kasimi, which is an Arabian astronomical term. And we have the Brigdu Bingdu point, or the destiny point, in the 8th house of unearned income, of transformation, sudden ups and downs, and of money coming in from others. So what is the Brigdu Bingdu point? It is a point of destiny in one's chart. So it's an imaginary point between Rahu and the moon. So the Brigdu Bingdu point is a mathematical calculation, and it's the midpoint between Rahu and the moon. So Rahu being our destiny and our obsession, and the moon being the mind. And it really indicates something that your soul is just destined to do in this incarnation, and basically what your soul needs to do in order to move through incarnation. So we have this Brigdu Bindu point at 5 degrees and 33 seconds in the nakshatra of Dhanishta, which is the nakshatra Dhanishta that is known as the richest one. So this nakshatra is known as the Star of Symphonies, and it brings considerable material wealth and ownership of property and real estate. And then also just glancing back at his birth chart, looking at the first house, he does have Uranus sitting in the first house in the sign of Cancer. So anytime that Uranus is very close to the ascendant degree, it becomes very intense. So we can say that he is very eccentric. He may look odd and very eccentric. I don't know what Mr. Kenneth looks like, but I'm sure he still looks like a multimillionaire, okay? So moving on. So the nakshatra of Dhanishta is known as the richest one. It is known as the Star of Symphonies. It brings considerable material wealth and ownership of property and real estate. So this nakshatra denotes fame and recognition. So we can say, okay, yeah, he had fame and recognition from his lottery win. This Brigdu Bingdu point is in the sign of Aquarius, which we know Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, which is connected to the 11th house of wealth and great gains and money through large groups and organizations. So moving on and cross-referencing the D2 IR or wealth chart. So at the time of the win on December the 22nd, 1992, Kenneth was running the Mahadasha time period of the planet Jupiter and the Antardarsha time period of the sun. So in the birth chart, the sun rules the second house of wealth, gains, and income and goes into the sixth house in the sign of Jupiter, where the sun conjuncts Mercury, creating a Buddha Atitya Yoga. And this is also Kasimi, which is an Arabian astronomical term. So we're going to look at the day that Kenneth won. So Kenneth Green won on the $13 million on December the 22nd of 1992. So just looking back on that day, transiting Jupiter is 18 degrees of Virgo, and transiting Rahu is 27 degrees of Scorpio. And then we have transiting Ketu at 27 degrees of Taurus. So this transiting Ketu is trine the transiting Jupiter, and they both cast a trine to the natal Venus at 22 degrees Capricorn, which this completes the grand trine. So the transiting Ketu is conjunct the natal moon, which is also involved in this grand trine, because transiting Ketu at 27 degrees Taurus conjuncts the natal moon, which we have at 25 degrees Taurus. And transiting Jupiter, 18 degrees Virgo, trines that Ketu and the moon. And so all are trine the natal Venus, which is 22 degrees Capricorn. The moon is in the 11th house of gains and wealth. And as we know, the natal Venus rules this house. So at the time of the win, Rahu is stationary at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So we have it conjunct the natal Saturn at 26 degrees in the 5th house of speculation, which is the house of lottery. So transiting Saturn is at 21 degrees of Capricorn. And we have this conjunct the natal Venus, which is the natal planet involved in the grand trine of transiting Ketu and transiting Jupiter. And so just cross-referencing all that, I like to look at the D2 IR or the wealth chart. So just looking at the D2 chart, this is used to analyze a person's wealth and financial status. So we see here that Kenneth is a Libra rising. And as we know, Venus is the ruler of Libra. And this Venus goes to the 2nd house of wealth, money, finances, and income. So the 2nd house is relative to the sign of Taurus. So Venus rules both Libra and Taurus. And where is the sign of Taurus? It's in the 8th house of unearned income, sudden transformations. So also to note, we have an eclipse happening here with both Rahu and Ketu being here. And as we know, Rahu and Ketu are our karmic and destiny. So Rahu Ketu being in the 8th house give financial gain, as the dispositor for Rahu Ketu is the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus. And once again, Venus is placed in the 2nd house of income and wealth and material gains. And this is a benefic planet. So anywhere that an eclipse happens is a point of huge change in anybody's life. And this is happening here again in his 8th house of sudden transformations and unearned income. This is the house of inheritances, which is denoting a lottery win. So in D2 Ire, Uranus is conjunct Venus in the 2nd house in the sign of Scorpio. So Uranus is the planet of unexpected gains, and it is in the 2nd house of wealth, along with Venus, which is the indicator of extreme wealth. And I mean extreme wealth. So this indicates a person that is extremely lucky, and they come into unexpected wins. What is Rahu Ketu? Rahu Ketu are our karmic destiny planets. Rahu Ketu in one house is forming a Kalasarpa yoga, meaning the extremes of fate or destiny are upon Kenneth. So this yoga is formed when all planets, excluding the outer planets being Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are on one side of Rahu and Ketu, and this indicates an extreme destiny. So another chart that we can cross-reference would be looking at the D11 or the Ekadamsha chart to check out his wealth potential. And this is the 11th divisional chart. So we have Venus in the 11th house that indicates wealth and money, which here it tells of a life of ease and comfort and great luxuries. So we have a Taurus ascendant and a 1st house connection. As the ruler of the 1st, Venus goes to the 11th house of great gains, wealth, and large groups and organizations. And as we know, Venus in the 11th house indicates wealth and money, and it gives a prediction of a life of ease and comfort and great luxuries. So we have this Venus placed here in the sign of Pisces, along with the Sun, Rahu, and Pluto. So the Sun and Venus are Kasimi, which is here in the 11th house, and this denotes great wealth. So once again, we have another indicator of great wealth. So the ruler of the 11th house here being in the sign of Pisces in the 11th is Jupiter. So Jupiter is the ruler of the 11th that goes to the 8th house of unearned income. Once again, money through other people, the house of sudden change, transformation, and the house of inheritance. So also to note here, which is pretty fascinating, I'd say, we have a Jupiter Moon yoga in the 8th house. The 8th house, once again, being the house of unearned income, sudden changes, sudden transformation. So here he has a Gajra Kasari yoga. The Gajra Kasari yoga is when Jupiter is in a Kendra, so 1, 4, 7, 10 from the moon. It gives wealth, intelligence, and virtues. So in the D11 Ekadamsha chart, the karmic destiny planets of Rahu and Ketu are across the 5-11 axis. So we know the 5th house is the house of speculation and lottery. And the 11th house is the house of wealth, income, large sums of money, groups and organizations. So let's look at the dispositors of Rahu Ketu. Ketu is in the 5th house in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So the ruler of the 5th and the 4th, being Mercury, indicates great skill in speculation, great skill in lottery, great skill in gambling. So Rahu is in the 11th house of gains, income, wealth, large groups and organizations, in the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And we know Jupiter is with the moon, conjunct in the 8th house, creating a Gajra Kasara yoga, meaning this person is very fond of speculation and gambling. Jupiter again rules the sign of Sagittarius and Pisces. So we have Pisces in the 11th house of gains, large sums of money, wealth. And let's look at the D2 Hora chart pretty briefly. So here we have a Cancer ascendant, which denotes easy money and money flowing to Kenneth from other people. So my books are now open for Vedic astrology readings, specializing in birth chart analysis, year to year or Varshapal readings, as well as karma destiny readings, reading the Rahu Ketu in your chart, as well as Brigdu Bingdu points to be discussed and analyzed. So the link's down below. If you'd like to dive in, I'm here to help. So Mr. Kenneth seemed like he was basically destined to win the lottery. So are you destined to win the lottery? Be sure to check out my series, Vedic Astrology and Money, because we're going to find where your money resides and we're going to see, are you the next big lottery winner? We'll see you next time. Bye.